Firstly, congrats.
Thank you.
It's quite a milestone. Can you describe to us your earliest influences and mentors?
Yeah, certainly can. Back in, actually, before I even started playing in carnivals, I started at CBC in year 7, and my first year in year 8 was the first time I got exposed to the big court at CBC. And that was in 1979, and unbeknownst to me, I still don't know how it happened, I actually went to that carnival when I was in year 8. Not to observe, I somehow got my brother Stephen, and 2 mates. We lived at Morford Vale, and we were travelling every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, to run the drinks van at the regular court for the whole carnival. Now that was 79 when Borry and Cookie won the doubles, and JK won the singles. But I remember a lot of the games, but it was a huge atmosphere. That was sort of my first exposure to it. So then you see the likes of when Borry and the Victorian players, Borry, Cookie, JK, all the Victorian players, Dempsey, Jones, Kenners, that whole era. So that was my first exposure to carnival, but as the years went on in school, we just play it year 8, year 9, year 10, recess, before school, recess, lunchtime, get to the top of the line and you can continue on. And if you get to the top of the line, from memory, you didn't have to go to the end of the line. If you went right through the whole line, you got caught out. So, but that was my first exposure. So is that the question?
Yeah, close. Yeah.
Just goes on, as I do sometimes on slight tangents. That was sort of my first real, and I just love hitting the ball because I played tennis for years and years and years, and with my older brother Steve.
Yeah, right. How did you feel when you were being picked the first Oakland team?
Stoked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Come on, hard enough, folks. Sorry, I'm saying about me because.
Can you describe your training? What was it like when you were training for an
What was the other question?
Yeah, no, that's right. How did you feel when you were being picked?
Yeah. Okay, so I finished junior. I played 4 years of juniors when I was in year, from when I was 16 all the way through to 18. And it was good, but I did have a lot of success, but I love the carnivals. The carnival, my God, we had some. My first introduction to the great Santa Ferry was playing against him back in juniors. Eddie Schroeder came on the scene in my 4th year. He was just, it blew me out of the water. So you just knew you had great players coming through the whole time. And we trained my guts out. I wanted to get into from playing juniors because you then just play pennant. Then you just want to go to the next step and start playing a kind of cup. And I remember at the state dinners were big back then, years ago, and it was, my name was the first one called by Jack Foley.
Yeah, right.
And it's blew me away, so I was stoked. And carnivals were slightly different back then. We played our O'Connor Cups in the morning, and the titles games, and then some more O'Connor Cups in the afternoon. But I never got to play on the Saturday. I think I came in at number 8 or number 9, I think, at the team. But I played two on a Sunday. My first game was with Fitzgerald many years ago against New South Wales, and I played another game against New South Wales with the legendary Mick Kiley, who unfortunately can't be here today, but those memories will stay with me forever, so that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I was elated. I was elated, and to be selected amongst guys that you who you trained with, you looked up to.
Yeah, good. What was your training like in your approach to kind of tasks and actions?
We Tuesdays, Thursdays, Penance Saturdays, off to the Orient Hotel Saturday night to refresh, and then back out Sunday morning. And it was a constant cycle. So I do remember one year, I can't remember, it was the year that I first had a crack at the Australian singles. I was lucky enough, and it was in '91, and I came up against an absolutely awesome informed Chris King, and he just blew me off the court. So I knew where I had to be from a level to try and be successful in this game. I remember one year actually I stopped drinking for hydrating, but I stopped drinking alcohol for 12 months, and I can't remember whether that did me good or not, so I probably took it back up again. Just you try all this, you're learning and learning and learning to try and better yourself as a sports person and to be competitive against all the states. I was in awe of the players that I witnessed as a kid. I've been thinking about this for when Bob sent me the letter a couple of months ago. My God, the memories that have my thought process of just random things that pop in your head over the time. Car trips to Sydney. I remember, first witnessing the New South Wales team walk through the west gate of the CDC court, and it was like watching a movie from Baywatch. These blokes, Jack Marsh was the front row for Eastern Suburbs football, and it was they were Colossus of men, and they could play handball, and my God, it was in awe. It was, and then you saw the skills of the Victorians that just batted so deep. You could be coming up against some great players, even if you were a number 8 or a number 7. The games you would play. Streetsy, I remember, even Streetsy's an Australian champion. He's a Hall of Famer, and you come up against him, even if he was playing number 6 or number 5. And, he was a great player. And I had the lucky, I partnered you in the world titles back in 1990s, I think. There's a couple of guys here that played back then, at that time when Melbourne were lucky enough to host the world titles. 1988. Thank you. Yeah. So, which was a great experience. It's the first time being in awe of a lot of guys, I had the opportunity to be able to play with Warren in that time. So it was really good.
Oh, awesome. Now, when was the moment you thought in maybe 10, 15, 20 years you might make it to the Hall of Fame? Tuesday. Or did you have to beat anyone to really feel like you're over the peak of your game?
You just want to beat everybody. My God, some of the games over my career, my title wins. It was just, I knew I had the fitness to be able to carry it. For some reason I won, because back in those days you had to win your state title to be able to then qualify to represent your state. So you were beating people like Shrine, like Peter Shrine, Jim Kiley, Walker, all those legends that you look up to. So you had to get to that peak before you get to the next stage of the mountain. Then you get to that stage and you're coming up against legends like another Hall of Famer, Des Jones, or Michael Hamilton, who was uncanny enough as a handballer, but my God, he was a good player, very good butt. So you had to be on your game to be able to be successful against those guys. I don't remember a lot about the games. I do remember the final shot in my first, which was terrible because I hit the wall, as in I literally hit the wall with my hand, and blood just pissed out everywhere after that shot. But Nick was, Michael Hamilton, I played, it was 14-11 in the third, and I served it deep. He put one right down the right wall, and I came across to hit it. I thought, I'm going to smash this straight out the back, but the ball was just stuck to the wall, and I hit the wall, and it ricocheted around the court. So it wasn't a flat butt to win my title, but I think Nick was expecting it, and he just didn't make it in. And I thought, oh fuck, I've won. Yeah, that's it. So, but Mick's been a great friend and an amazing player for New South Wales and for this Australian handball scene especially.
Yeah, right. A bit more lighter now. Do you have a favourite call?
Ian Court, I won a game. He's a favourite, but look, there's been some great calls. I love CBC St Kilda. It was a really good call. Lakemba was good. It was a nice polished court, except the sun, if you played an early O'Connor Cup game, the sun was right over the top of the court. If I know Jimmy might remember, and other guys that played those first O'Connor Cup games on a Saturday or Sunday morning, the sun was right there, so it made it difficult. But look, any court's a good court. I've been lucky enough to play on Bathurst Island in Darwin, as a few of us have here, which is a Christian Brothers. It belongs to the Christian Brothers, and they out on Bathurst Island.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so but there's two floodlit handball courts out on half an hour's flight north of Darwin. So I've been lucky enough to get there a couple of times. So no, it's been unique, and I've been lucky enough to. It says that I've been lucky enough as well to travel to America. The whole group has went and played in Tucson. Was it Tucson? Toledo, sorry. So I knew it started with a T. So that was unique, seeing back-to-back three-wall handball courts. So yeah, it's been a great little journey. I never thought that I'd be sitting here doing this. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you truly encompass handball. Who did you enjoy playing with most?
On the court? I still remember playing. Growing up, I was lucky enough to play with some of the greats of South Australian handball. Jim Kiley was calm, skillful, precise. Then you get to play with Peter Schreiner, who's a grunter, hard worker, inspirational. And on the flip side, I've been lucky enough to play with Brodie. I've been lucky enough to play with all these guys here, Serge, Phil, Fraser, Cormies. I'm very lucky. Look, if they make me look good, I'm happy. So, but we play a unique game. It's cheap. You've got to be skillful, really skillful. It's going to blow up here a bit. No, the eye-hand coordination is, a lot of people just can't take it up. It takes them a while. So everybody's in this room has had an experience of it, and it's a unique game, and so long it should live.
Who do you least enjoy playing against? Maybe not answer it that way. Maybe who's had your conviction?
Yeah, look, I've had a lot of cracks at titles, and I've lost a lot. But it didn't matter who you came up against. You had to be on your game. I know Cedar's always given me a lot of trouble with Eddie. He's just a phenomenal competitive person. go back to the early days, even some of the pennant games, was they were all really, really tough. Every community was, and then, I look at this now, and I used to play O'Connor Cup games against Chris King, and today, and over the last couple of years, I'm playing against his son, who's almost, you can't say he's a mini me, but he's a close to it. They're both phenomenal athletes. Their size and movement and power at the court is incredible. So you always have to be on your game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. And now you've got whippersnappers like friggin' Brody running around the court on a Saturday afternoon. It's great to watch.
And you have one memorable moment that really sticks out to you?
Now? I get a lot of joy now out of the O'Connor Cup success. The team's aspect that you can share with your mates is great, and that's what I love. That's what drives me the most, I think. And you get to share that with. We've had some great success. Let me just go back a step. It took me 9 years, I think, before I won my first O'Connor Cup, which was in 1993. So there was a lot of time trying. There's a lot of time trying to get better, and we finally reached that peak. So it was a 19-year drought that we were able to break, and in the last few years we've had a good solid team that's been able to be successful in that aspect of the game, which is for me very, very enjoyable. But I'm not saying that the singles and doubles wins, they're priceless as well. All my doubles wins were with Jim Cormie, and I think back at the Lake Page Rhino, we had a few cracks at it, and we just couldn't beat it. We came up against King and Black and Victoria. We came up against some great doubles, but we just couldn't do it. But luckily, Jim and I were able to be successful on a few occasions, and his ability and his mental strength is one of his strongest aspects of his game, and that's brought him a lot of success, and I'm just happy to have been along there with the right for it. Is that all?
That was brilliant. That takes us to the end of our couch there.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
The ball hit halfway